Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Charles, and I welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have a very serious episode for you guys that would like you to stick around for, so please make sure you go and like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, one of the stories that seems to be kind of flying under the radar is the Brett Favre scandal. Us on this channel, we're predominantly an NBA sports channel. That's usually what we focus on. We did touch on it in the past. We produced a few videos, but overall it just seems to be something that's not really being discussed in sports media. Now, we initially gave our thoughts about the matter about a week or so after the news came out, and then after that it just seemed to kind of disappear. Yesterday, however, while surfing the internet, a video from MSNBC was suggested to me on YouTube, and it's centered on Brett Favre. And when I read the title of this particular video, I absolutely was in total disbelief of what the title was saying. Apparently, Brett Favre also misappropriated additional funds to build an additional volleyball gym. Now, for those of you who may not be aware of this particular bit of news, what we want to do is we want to play what some of the report had to say here on this latest development, and then we're going to come back and react to it. So take a listen to what this report has to say here. It's a bit lengthy, but I want you guys to listen to it in its entirety because it will give this particular show more context. So take a listen to that here, and then we'll come back and react to it. Take a listen to that.
Farve and his new lawyers say he did not know welfare dollars would be used in the project, though there are a handful of text messages from him that seem to suggest otherwise. Farve has said he believes he did nothing wrong. The Mississippi Free Press put together this extensive timeline of efforts by Farve to help build not one but two volleyball facilities at schools his daughter attended, and how he went to shocking lengths to divert money, again, meant for the poor and sick, to fund those projects. Ashton Pittman is one of the reporters who put that timeline together, as well as authoring a piece detailing what reporting and court filings revealed about Favre's involvement, and he joins me now. Ashton, I got to say, again, Favre's not facing any criminal charges, though other people involved in this fraud case have already pleaded guilty. But every new detail just seems to show a level of involvement and determination by Favre to get this money that is not like a casual undertaking.
Right. We see, through the texts that have come out, we can see that Brett Favre was looking for a lot of ways to pay for this. And we know that starting in, 2017, which was the year that his daughter was going to graduate high school and start at the University of Southern Mississippi, which is his alma mater. That's when he started really pushing for help funding this volleyball stadium at Southern Miss. And from everything we've seen, he had actually pledged to give the money to fund this stadium himself. So then we suddenly, though, see in these texts to Governor Phil Bryant going back to April 2017, Brett Favre is talking about getting help with fundraising and sponsorships. He's talking about all sorts of ways to pay for it. And at one point, he even mentions the possibility of prison industry labor. So we're looking at this, and it doesn't start out with, Brett Favre doesn't come into this saying, I want some welfare money to build a volleyball stadium. He's kind of just like, from what we see in these texts, he's looking for any kind of help he can get in any way it can come to pay for this stadium that he had apparently pledged to pay to build himself.
Yeah, it's that sequence of facts is important because the last time we did that story, I don't think that was yet so clear, and it was so strange, right? Like, he's a very wealthy man. He could write a check. I mean, this is the kind of thing that very wealthy people do. It's like, well, my kid is going to a school. I'm going to give you a big check for it. What becomes clear is that basically that's the agreement he'd struck, and we learn that from these texts. This is the president of his alma mater, USM, University of Southern Mississippi, says, and he's texting with the governor, right? And he says, the bottom line is he personally guaranteed the project, and on his word and handshake, we proceeded. It's time for him to pay up. It really is just that simple. And then later on, Rodney Bennett, then president, says, that's my thoughts. Maybe he wants the state to pay off his promises. Like all of us, I like Brett. He is a legend, but he has to understand what a pledge means. I have tried many times to explain that to him. So it seems like he makes this pledge, he makes this promise, then he just doesn't want to pony up the money, and that sends him on this bizarre odyssey to find a way to pay for it. That's someone else's money.
Right. And you can see from the text that Governor Phil Bryant released in a recent court filing, from everything we've seen so far, we haven't seen an indication that Brett Favre definitely knew that the money was temporary assistance for needy families money, which, a family of three would have to make less than $600 and have children to get in Mississippi. We haven't seen a text that says he knew exactly what that money was, but we know he knew that it was at least coming from the Department of Human Services.
Now, let me just tell you something from the beginning. If these reports are true, then Brett Favre is a term. I'm going to use a term for Brett Favre that I rarely use. Brett Favre is a very, very wicked person. And every sponsor that is affiliated with him should drop him immediately. Immediately. According to that report, he was apparently trying to secure funds for an additional volleyball gym using TANF funding. What's TANF? Temporary Assistance for Needy Families funds. I did some research to just get a better understanding of what that particular fund was all about and what it takes for a family to qualify for that type of for that type of financial relief. So let me just quickly read some information that I got here about this fund. Basically, what it says is that here, temporary assistance for needy families eligibility guidelines. The amount of TANF payment is based on the family's income. When the income does not meet the TANF program needs standard, the family may be approved for a monthly benefit of up to the state maximum for the household side. Monthly payments in Mississippi are limited to no more than $200 for the first person, $36 for the second person, and $24 for an additional person. Now listen to this. The gross monthly income limit for a family of three is currently $680. If a family member works and pays for childcare, the actual verified cost of childcare can be deducted. And it has a table that actually shows you how you can qualify in the different levels for assistance that you can receive. That's the first thing. Now, what I also decided to do, in addition to that research, was I decided to understand, wait a minute, what is the current poverty line in the United States? What's the poverty line? Where does that actually start? According to some reports that I got out here, this is from, where am I getting this from? ASPE.hhs.gov. Listen to this. If you're earning $12,880, or in some reports they're saying $12,950. I mean, $12,000, that is considered to be at the poverty line. And if you look at the standard deduction that they have out there of $12,950, basically what the government is saying, from my understanding, is this: if you make that amount or less, just keep your money, because otherwise you would be homeless on the street. These are the people Brett Favre and his whoever you want to call these people were stealing from. And some people have already admitted. They have already admitted to their wrongdoing. Let me tell you this. Do you know the level? Do you know the kind of lack of regard you have to have for human life to do this? Like, seriously. I think a lot of people are not thinking about this from a psychological standpoint. They're thinking about it from, well, he committed this act. No, we have to look at it from a psychological standpoint and from a human to human standpoint. Do you know the type of human being you have to be to do that? It is one thing if you're misappropriating funds, money, for local and federal projects like building roads, building parks, building bridges. Yeah, people find a way to steal money doing those type of it happens all the time. But at least these are for things that don't obviously they affect people, but you're not actually taking money out of people's mouths. You're just doing a bad job, so these things would erode quickly, and in the near future, you can ask for money again. If they say, "Oh, this road is supposed to last 20 years," and you build it, you find ways to steal money, cut corners, then okay, maybe in 10 years that road will start giving problems, so we can go back and ask for money to build that same road that we're already giving money. That's how you steal these guys. This is how politicians and these guys do it. This is how they do it. But that's one thing. But in this case, you're taking from the poor. It's unbelievable to me. You're taking from the poor. What kind of human being are you? The government put this type of program in place to prevent homelessness and, dare I say, people starving. That's why they put this in place. And in the case of Mississippi, there were a lot of people that needed that funding. It's unbelievable to me. We decided, while I was doing research, I decided, you know what? Let me throw this information to the audience. We put up a poll on our channel, and the channel was and the question was essentially this: for the engineers and businessmen on the channel, how much would you say it cost to build a volleyball gym, land procurement included? Meaning you're going to pay for the land as well. You're not just building it, you're also buying the land, right? Of the voters that voted, roughly 75% of the people said it's going to cost you anywhere between $2.5 million to $5 million. Now, obviously, it's a very generic question because if we're talking about prime real estate, it's going to cost more. But I just wanted to get a sense of what people are saying. It's not scientific. It's just really to get the temperature of how much people really think that will. Now, why did I ask that question? The reason I asked that question is simply for this. It brings us to Brett Favre's net worth. Brett Favre has a net worth of $100 million. Now, some of you say, well, he may not have that money in hard cash. No problem. No problem. They said if you have a net worth. They didn't say you're liquid $100 million. They say you have a net worth of 100, which means what? You have assets that are worth a good amount of money. What does that mean? That means that if you need to raise money for a project like this, that you yourself said you would do, according to that report, go sell one of your assets. If you're not willing to sell your assets, simply tell them, hey, listen, I don't have the money. I thought I'd be able to raise money for it. I don't have the money. I'm not willing to use my money, so I don't have the money. But in this case, they found a way to take money that was meant to relieve disenfranchised families. If this is true, the people involved should be jailed. They should be jailed. Stealing is, in some countries, if you steal and they catch you, it's over. It's over. You're going to get justice right there at that point. Forget about taking them to court. You will get justice the moment they catch you. That's how much is frowned upon to steal, especially from poor people. There's no excuse for it. Poor people, just imagine. Whatever you guys think, leave your thoughts in the comments. We catch you on the next episode. Peace.